Hello guys, it's LittleSatyr, and it has been a while again. I'm very sorry. I actually was planning on posting a video a couple of weeks ago, but I didn't have any time because my OBS kind of decided it didn't like me anymore, and the screen was black. I've had this issue before, but I kind of didn't really remember how I fixed it. And I was already like kind of stressed because I was on a time crunch because of like my classes, and I knew I wouldn't have any time to do anything the last couple of weeks or the last week of the year because I actually went to Norway and I spent Christmas and New Year with my boyfriend. So I've been away, which is why there wasn't a video for another 2 weeks. Excuse me. So that's why I've been away for 3 weeks. I'm sorry. It's just I've had to prioritize other things, and since believe it or not, my boyfriend doesn't actually know that I do YouTube. So, because it's embarrassing, okay? And basically, none of my friends know that I do this because it's embarrassing as fuck and I don't want anyone to know. But anyhow, I actually didn't want to make videos at his place because again, OBS was still being a little bitch, and I couldn't record anything. I fixed it now though. It's fixed. It wasn't then, but it's fixed now. I remembered how to fix it after finding the same YouTube video that helped me last time, and it was the same issue again. Not sure why that issue came back after I fixed it, but it did. But it's fixed now. It's okay. It's all fine and dandy. So yeah, and also like my boyfriend, he lives in like a 2 room apartment. It's like his bedroom, and then the kitchen and the living room is the same room, and there's a bathroom. That's basically that. So there was nowhere where I could sit and actually record things. So I just decided not to. There was just no point in doing it. No point at all. So yeah, I'm back now though. And I actually do have an art related topic to talk about. Um, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I've actually been wanting to talk about this for quite a while. It's just that I've never really like attempted to do it a few times. It's just that every single time I get so off track, I get confused, I repeat myself, and I just go into blabbering ramble about God knows what, and it just turns into a huge mess. So I'm trying to do this again. As you can probably tell, it's not scripted. It's freaking nearly 4 a.m. in the morning. Uh, no shit, it's 4 a.m. in the morning. That's what AM means. God. Okay, anyhow. It's 4 a.m. I'm still really tired. I kind of hecked my sleeping schedule while I was on my trip. So, yeah, I have class in 4 hours. Isn't that fantastic? But yeah, that's what's going on there. But anyhow, as I was saying, I kind of just keep messing up what I'm trying to talk about because it's such a broad topic. It's the situation where people don't think that artists deserve actual credit. But we do. I can guarantee you that we do. I'm not going to be talking specifically about art theft because I have another video about that later on. This is more about crediting and accidental theft. I'll be talking about intentional theft later on because I have a couple stories related to that. But anyhow, these what I'm talking about now is basically all these like fan accounts or roleplay accounts or whatever, just people who are using other people's characters or reposting a bunch of fan art of an anime or a game or whatever. Like I've seen so many Overwatch fan art accounts on Tumblr, and none of them have actually credited the art. Oh, some of them have, but a lot of them have not. Or in their opinion, they have, but they really haven't. And what I'm talking about here is when people they just repost things. Like they find a character they like, or they find fan art that they like, or whatever the reason is. They find a piece of art that they are using somewhere. They have no clue where it comes from, or they do. They just don't want to mention who made it. And they will do something along the lines of writing, "Oh, art isn't mine, by the way." Okay, that's cool. Who does it belong to, though? Or in other cases, they write, "Oh, sorry, it's mine. Like credit to the artist or credit to whoever made it," without any name to the actual artist. And then there are those people who actually tried, like they tried to properly credit the artist. And they're like, oh yeah, the art is by this person. And then they link a Pinterest repost and not the actual artist. I see this a lot. A lot. Sometimes it's with art with the signature is right on the picture, and if you Google that, you will more often than not actually find their profile on whether it be Twitter, DeviantArt for Affinity, or whatever. You will very often find them if you Google their name. But people don't like doing that. People don't like putting effort into shit because they immediately think that people who are reposting these things actually own them. Because guess what? They don't credit people either. And it turns into a vicious circle where no one knows where shit comes from. Unless you want to spend the next couple decades Googling and trying to find this one picture. Which is really freaking difficult in certain cases. Sometimes you'll find it, other times you won't. That's just how that is, sadly. Excuse me. And I, as a mod on like the furry amino community, I have to do this a lot. And very often I find a bazillion Pinterest reposts rather than the actual artist post when I try to reverse search things. Sometimes I'm lucky, sometimes I'm not. Sometimes someone does the exact same thing and finds it instantly because it didn't show up for me, but it did for them. I don't know. Google is a weird place. But regardless of that, reposting other people's stuff without credit isn't really kind. It's really frustrating. And as an artist myself, I don't like people doing that to my stuff. I have had some people do that. I've seen people who are using my characters as theirs, with or without credit. Someone asked me the other day if they could use a picture I made, but they at least they asked and they listened when I said no. But not everyone is as understanding. And then there's also the situation where people are going on, or where people are going around like, well, I found it on Google, so it's free to use anyway. I mean, like, I didn't know that it was someone's persona or that it was someone's OC. I found it on Google, and they shouldn't have put it on Google if they didn't want people to use it because Google is free to use. That is not how Google works, first off. Google is a search engine. It's not a website like DeviantArt for Affinity, Tumblr, Twitter, or whatever. It is not. It's a search engine. There's a reason to why you can Google websites. There's a reason to why you can reverse search images because it is a search engine. It is not actually a database for people to post things on. You don't post things on Google. You post things on other places on the internet and you find it with Google. That's how that is. If you Google the right shit, my art will show up. I've never posted my art to Google, quote unquote. I posted it on DeviantArt. You can find it there. It's on for Affinity on Tumblr as well. And some of it is on Twitter. But I've never posted it to Google. So there's that. But people just get so insanely defensive sometimes when you ask them kindly, like, hey, credit the artist, or hey, you can't use that because it doesn't belong to you, or at least actually, like, do some, like, at least make some attempt to credit. Don't just take the lazy route and write not me or like credit the artist because what happens when you write credit to artists is like, of course, yeah, credit to whoever made it. Technically, you have said that it's not yours and that whoever made it is the rightful owner. However, if credit is there, or artists want credit because they want people to be able to find more of their stuff. That is the reason why I put my signature on my art. That is the reason to why I don't want people to repost my stuff without credit. And like if people want to like have my art on their profile on Twitter or whatever, retweet it or reblog it on Tumblr or whatever, but don't repost it. I'm not okay with that. But the thing is, we as artists, like it's such an insanely competitive scene. It is. And excuse me, if you don't get your name out there, people aren't going to see your stuff. People aren't going to know who you are unless your art gets shared around. And you might think that you're doing artists a service by reposting their stuff and writing credit to artists or just reposting it without linking back to their profile. You aren't. Unless our name is somewhere easily accessible on your post, you're not helping us. Because what you're doing, you're spreading our work, not our name. You're not at all giving us exposure because no one knows who we are. Unless it is someone who is quite famous and people will instantly know, like, oh yeah, that's that artist, or it's this artist. Or if the artists themselves find it, like, oh yeah, that's mine. But it's not helping us in the long run unless you're giving people our names. Because no one's going to know who we are. It's just as simple as that. No one will be able to find us unless you put our names in the description. Because exposure is only exposure if your name is there. If someone is giving you a shout out with your name, that is exposure. If someone, like, imagine with movies. Let's say you watch this one movie, like for an example, Avengers Infinity War, because that movie is still relevant. If you wanted to know who plays Iron Man, for an example, saying Iron Man because he's literally my favorite Marvel superhero, I appreciate him a lot. I love him. But if if you want to find out who the actor is and you want to see more of his works, which I have because he's a very brilliant actor in my opinion. But if you wanted to know who that was to see more of his stuff, where would you look? If you didn't know him by name, you could Google who plays Iron Man in the Marvel movies. You'd be able to find them because they have credited him. If you look at the end credits of the movie, you will see the name of the character and the actor. Even every single person who's worked on the music, who's worked on the special effects, who's worked on the scripting, like who's worked on all of these things, their name will be in the end credits. You will be able to find these things out. However, if the actors weren't credited, imagine that. Like, there was nowhere to be found who the actors were unless they themselves actually went out and said it on their Twitter or whatever that, hey, I played this character, that was me. No one would be able to know that. No one will be able to find them because their name wouldn't be out there. Now, I'm able to say that, yeah, it's Robert Downey Jr. who plays Iron Man because I know that because he has been credited for his role. But if they didn't, okay, who played Iron Man in the Marvel movies? Oh, the actor. Credit to the actor for doing a good Iron Man. Credit to the actor for playing Spider Man. Credit to the actor for doing this and that. Credit to the writer for making the script. People need to be able to know who these people are. Because they wouldn't be getting more roles or they wouldn't be getting more jobs if we never knew who they were. They, like, Robert would probably not even have been starring in this movie if he wasn't discovered through something else. He wouldn't be playing in several different movies if his name wasn't out there because no one would know how to contact him. No one would be able to talk to him to ask if he wanted to audition. People wouldn't know that. But they can because his name is out there. People know that he is the guy playing Iron Man. Even though he's going to be quitting doing that now because he doesn't want to do it anymore, people still will be able to know Robert Downey Jr. is the guy who played Iron Man in the Marvel movies. People know that because of credit. Artists are no different. We need our names to be out there. We need people to know who made our art. We need people to be able to find us if they like our stuff. Because what you're doing when you're reposting our stuff, you are spreading it, yeah, but you're only moving it further and further away from us. Because the more people who are reposting it without our names, the more it's going to be spread around the internet, yeah, but the less people are going to be able, like, the less likely people are going to be able to find us and actually see our social media and be able to see more of our stuff. Because we rely heavily on people actually seeing what we do. That is how we gain followers and potential customers who want to buy commissions. That is how we get our names out there. Not by you sharing our art without giving us actual proper credit. And credit is our name. In certain cases, the full name, if that is what people decide to go by. Sometimes it's an online alias, which it is in my case. In other cases, it's just like some other kind of little silly scribble signature or whatever that people will be able to find us through. Like maybe it's a website or anything like that. But people need to be able to know where we are, even if it's as simple as an email address or a Facebook name or anything like that. You need to credit artists properly. Just saying credit to artist doesn't let people know who we are. And we deserve to we deserve to have our names attached to something we worked hard on. Even if it's something you commissioned from someone, you still need to credit people if you repost it. I had this one guy do that to me actually. I He commissioned me for a custom character that I made for him. He credited me when he posted it on DeviantArt, but he did not credit me when he posted it to Fur Affinity. I stumbled over his Fur Affinity page like a couple months later, and I was like, dude, come on, credit. He did add it after I told him, but you see, no one would have been able to know that I made it unless he knew me already. And considering I have different online aliases, like I have LittleSatyr on my main platforms, such as like my YouTube and my DeviantArt, which is, yeah, LittleSatyr. But on all of my furry related things, it's DeltaPaws, or for Affinity, which is freaking Sutaru, which is a name I don't even associate with anymore, so I need to change that name. I will, at one point or another, make a new for Affinity account and just move everything to that. I'm so glad you can actually change your name on Twitter and Tumblr and all of that, but you cannot on for Affinity. Please, for Affinity, get on that. Anyhow, um, yeah, but yeah, just think about that, okay? Don't erase artists' identities off of stuff. Especially like if you admire someone's work, the last thing or the least thing you can do is to let other people know who we are. Don't say that you're doing us a service by sharing our stuff if you're not even crediting us. Saying the art isn't yours doesn't help. Saying credit to the artist without our names doesn't help. That is not exposure in any way, shape, or form. Because believe it or not, a lot of people aren't going to be going through the effort of actually sitting and reverse searching and trying really hard to find other people. That's not how that works. A lot of people aren't going to do that. Well, I guess that was all I had to say. And thank you guys so much for listening. And I hope you understand where I'm coming from and why this is such a big deal to me. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Okay. Take care, and I hope you have a great day or night, depending on when you post this, or depending on when you watch this and when I post it. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.